the 9 to 5 is a shambolic waste of time. The reason I say that is because it's soul sucking. It really is soul sucking. It's just tearing at the core of who you are as a person, sort of like a stone that is buried underneath water, and the water just goes over it and over it and over it, and in hundreds of millions of years, it just smooths it into a pebble, where it's just smooth, all the features are nearly gone, everything is gone. That is what a 9 to 5 does to your soul. It just smooths out any kind of individualities, anything that stands out, anything that makes you you, smooths it all out. So then you can just be a smooth pebble, and you can blend in with the rest of the smooth pebbles. And what is the final purpose of it? So we exchange our time for money. We need that money in order to live in this modern society that we've created for ourselves. But why on earth would you spend your entire life, or most of your life, going to a 9 to 5 job that you absolutely, at best, you're not enthusiastic about. At worst, you fucking hate it. Obviously, it's a question of passion. It's a question of purpose. For me personally, I found that purpose is something that I desperately need in my work and in everything that I do. If it doesn't have a purpose, if it doesn't have a meaning, I just can't do it. What's the meaning in creating another 10% increase in sales for client in Q3? Nothing. It's soulless. It doesn't say anything. But I guess the main problem with 9 to 5 is that society has embedded itself and has accepted that this is a standard operating procedure which we must all follow. We have 7 days in the week, out of which you work 5, and 2 days are for yourself, right? In theory. But they're not really for yourself. Because you work, the 5 days that you work, you can do basically pretty much nothing in those days. Say you got a 9 to 5, right? Depending on where you live, how far away you live from your workplace, from your commute, you are going to spend, let's say you spend an hour on the commute, right? So that's 8 to 6 to kind of like be home and get home. 8 to 6. That is what? That is 10 hours out of your day, just gone. You sleep another 8 hours. That's 18 hours. So you've got another 6 hours for yourself. But the thing is, with those 6 hours, in the morning you wake up, you have a shower, you drink your coffee, you get ready. That's at least 1 hour wasted. You get home, you take your clothes off, you just rest for a little bit. That's another hour wasted, right? So technically speaking, you got about 4 hours for yourself each day, which doesn't really leave a lot of room for anything else, given the fact that, you know, you may have a family, you may have children, you may have responsibilities. We all need to cook, we all need to wash our clothes, we all need to wash ourselves. We've all got chores and things we need to do around the house. So realistically speaking, you only got, say you get Friday evening maybe, and then the weekend. But then again, you have those chores, right? So like one day in the weekend, you're going to have to do things around the house. You're going to have to do gardening. You're going to have to take out the trash and whatever that might be. So the question arises, how do we get to this point? Why on earth are we staying in a 9 to 5? Well, obviously, first of all, it's vested interests. This model of work is antiquated, to say the least. But it has been in effect since pretty much the beginning of the 20th century. And I think it all started with Henry Ford, who's noticed that his workers in his factories been more productive when the 9 to 5 model is implemented, 5 days on, 2 days off. I stand to be corrected on that, and I'm more than happy to learn more about how we got to this stage. But the question is, why on earth are we still operating at this stage? In an age and in a time where the global wealth has exploded, the fact that it's concentrated in the hands of a few, it strikes at the core of this issue. We are capable of producing more than we ever have. we've basically extended our lifespans in the past 100, 150, 200 years, nearly doubled it. We've extended it to like where the average lifespan nowadays in like most developed countries is 80 plus. So if we have all this capability and all this resourcefulness about us, why on earth are we still in a 9 to 5 way of working? Or people are going to say, well, you have those shift workers or those workers who can't depend, who either have to work like nurses or doctors. They can't just do a 9 to 5. They have to work more. Well, to that I say, no, that is a resourcing issue. That is a wage issue, a payment issue. If we paid nurses what they're really worth, we'd pay them a lot more. We'd hire a lot more of them. The fact that a nurse or a doctor has to work 24-hour shifts, that speaks of a fundamental flaw in the system, in the way that those positions are resourced. And that doesn't say that the rest of society needs to be, follow the same pattern. But that's just a tangent. Why are we following this model? It is soul-sucking. It is every single time I've been into a position or a job where I had to be a 9 to 5, I felt little pieces of myself just going into the fucking bin. Right? Just being thrown in the fucking bin. And I've even bought into it. Like, I've tried to convince myself, oh, this is actually what I want, I'm just going to try and... But fucking hell, man. It's like... It's just draining. It is absolutely draining. And the funny thing about it is, obviously, the ways which we approached that during COVID, nobody had a problem with everyone working from home because it was necessary, right? We couldn't all meet, government restrictions and all that. But now they're trying to strip that away. So it's no longer a question of like efficacy. It's a question of, you all need to get back into the office, because this is where we're going to have like parties, and then they give you that bullshit excuse with collaboration and sharing of ideas. Fair enough, it might, sometimes, maybe. But they started mandating 3 days a week in the office, and now it's going to 4 days, and pretty soon it's going to be full-time in the office again, like the pandemic never even happened. And the most tragic thing about that is that we haven't learned the lessons. And the lesson here is, let people decide where and how they want to work, don't force them. And obviously, like, people are going to say, oh, but like, that's how we have a culture here and all that kind of shit. Like, yo, my brother and sister in Christ, drop all the culture bullshit. Like, we are here to exchange time in favor of money. Like, I'm here exchanging my work. And that's another fundamental issue here, because we shouldn't be exchanging time for money. We should be exchanging effort and work for money. That's another problem. Like, most of the jobs, you can have your work done in how many hours, and then you're just like lazying about and making yourself seem busy and kind of talking to colleagues and, all that kind of bullshit and everything else. But it's bullshit. Like, the modern the modern workplace is bullshit. A lot of what makes up our society is just predominantly bullshit. Like, we are very good at creating and disseminating bullshit, and I think George Carlin would be proud of what I'm saying here, potentially, because he's echoed that himself. It's just all bullshit. It's bullshit, and it's the kind of corrosive, acidic bullshit that kind of seeps into your soul and strips it away of anything that makes you and everything that makes life worth living. Why do we not follow a pattern of 4 on, 3 off? Why is that not the next thing that's being pushed over? Why? Because obviously, the landlords of the world, of the office spaces and the commercial spaces need to get their fat paychecks. And obviously, if people are not in the office, then they're not getting the fat paychecks, and they can't be held accountable for losses that they incur on their investments, right? If the world changes, they need to still keep getting their fat paychecks. That's one aspect of it. But there's trials being introduced in the UK and in other countries, in Iceland and other countries, where they've introduced a 4-day work week, and people are happier, people are more motivated, people are more productive in a 4-day work week. When you think about it, like, We work. We don't work to live. We don't live to work. We work to live. Work is a necessary evil that we all have to kind of do in order to make sure that we can afford to do the things that we really want to do. That's not to say that work is meaningless, or that, there's some kind of a bit of an anarchist in terms of like how we look at work. No, there's meaning to be had in work, and I think everyone needs an activity. I think everyone needs a purpose. I think everyone needs consistent goals to work towards. That's what makes us humans. That's what makes us who we are, and that's what gives us power to achieve more and more things, higher and higher. We all need to do those things, but what I'm talking about here is meaningless work, which is a lot of the 9 to 5 jobs, office work, and all that kind of office dynamics and bullshit and pretending and fucking smiling and culture and all that kind of crap that is just redundant. It's beyond, like, we don't need that. So yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, I'm not saying we shouldn't work, and I'm not saying that work is meaningless. On the contrary, I think if we manage to find work that is meaningful and gives us a purpose, then that's great. That's what we all want. But why on earth are we still operating on these antiquated ways of doing things? Why are we not learning and moving forward? Like, everyone's trying to push AI as the next big thing. They're going to revolutionize shit. And it's like, yo, AI is not going to revolutionize shit. It's going to drive people out of their jobs. It's going to leave a lot of people without jobs. It's going to hyper accelerate the way capitalism works in the Western world. And it's just going to keep selling you and packaging you bullshit that you don't need in order to advertise to you on 3-pixel spots on your TV screen or whatever the fuck. So I can't do a 9 to 5. I've discovered that I can't do a 9 to 5. It's just, I can't do it. I'm not willing to do it. Like, if there's purpose, if there's meaning, if anything like that. But even then, it's like, why are we doing a 9 to 5, 5 days on, 2 days off? I'm sorry, I keep repeating the same fucking thing. But genuinely, I want to know the answer to this, because why have you not moved to a 4 on, 3 off? Pardon me. It's just soul sucking. What are we going to do about it? I don't even know, man. It just all seems farcical. I've never understood, like, in university, when I went to uni, they used to tell us, oh, you have to do this course in order to be employable. Or you have to do this in order to make yourself more employable. Oh, you have to do this to make yourself more employable. Is the purpose of life to be fucking employable, mate? Just that seems like such a stupid way to miss what life is all about. Like, I was born to be employable, to someone to hire me. Please hire me. That's my purpose as a human being, to be fucking employable. Like, the purpose of university isn't to go and gain knowledge and become more educated. And yeah, that might help you get employed and become more employable. But that's a byproduct of education and of knowledge. It's not the end goal in itself. It seems like this, the more I think about it, the more this system has been perpetuated and created by people who have no fucking soul to them. Like, these carbon copies of each other who all think the same thing, consume the same thing, and look at the same things, and think the same things, and smile the same smiles, and just like pencil pushers and fucking penny counters and people who just like have not discovered who they truly are. And then they tell you they need to be employable. It's just so farcical. And it's tiring, it's soul consuming. But then it's even more soul consuming to not have one of these jobs, because then you can't afford to pay your bills and you can't afford to live. The state of the world in such a way that most of these like 9 to 5 jobs, you work them, but at the end of the month, you may not even be able to live by yourself. You may have to share with 5 other people. You'll have your room, share with 5 other people, and that's considered normal. Or you have children and you're not able to make ends meet. Like, the demands of the 9 to 5s have gone up and gone up and gone up, but the wages, stagnant. A desert. You can hear the freaking, like in the westerns, those things lying about in the street. You can hear them. I forget what they're called. Tumbleweeds. Yeah, you can hear the tumbleweeds just rolling about on the streets. And then you're also supposed to be really thankful for that. Say, oh yes, please. Oh my God, I'm so thankful for this soul-crushing 9 to 5. Thank you so much for giving me the option to destroy my soul in a manner that will make time slip through my fingers. And before I know, I'll wake up and I'm 70 and I've fucking pissed away my whole life working at bullshit jobs. Nah, sir, that's not me. They shouldn't be you either.